John Cena has had an illustrious career spanning 22 years. His career is one that many couldn't even imagine. International superstar inside and outside the ring, the marquee name for the WWE in the 2000s and 10s, and a very safe name to build around. The PG era came along mostly because Cena was at the helm. A reliable figure always willing to do the job. He's amassed quite the accolades throughout the years and is considered by WWE at times to be their greatest wrestler ever. Regardless of that conversation, it's impossible to talk about the history of WWE and pro wrestling without the name John Cena. His farewell tour is set to commence in 2025, and for somebody of his stature, he's getting that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant send-off, going up against old foes and newer hungry talent. Cena is about to experience it all again one more time. A legend in the industry, John Cena has earned the right to go out on his own terms. This video is just mere speculation and of course my personal preference for what his final match should be. Now whenever this conversation comes up, it mostly gets relayed to the old school mentality of putting someone young over on your way out. Looking at the WWE roster today, I feel like there's only one young man that would actually be worth it when it comes to facing John Cena in his final match. Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is a name that is almost guaranteed to be at the top of the WWE. It's destiny, and the question isn't if he's gonna be on top but when. Breaker's developed quite well on the main roster already and has an Intercontinental Championship to his name, not to mention is the current champion. He's the most established out of the younger guys and has a much clearer path to the top that is definitely gonna be executed. His character is down, his wrestling is down, and he's very comfortable. If John Cena is the man of the company, it would be the most obvious decision because it really benefits the WWE to have Braun Breaker face John Cena in his final match. Who knows how things are by then, but they could tell the story of Cena wanting to win the title one last time. It could be number 17 or even 18, and Breaker is the champion in his final match. I think this match has a better chance of happening than you think. What's funny about this video is that Breaker is the only rising star I have on here. The reason why is because I don't see any of the newer talent in the ring with him for the final match. Dominic maybe, but that's because of the immense heat he has, and it's gonna be a while before Cena actually has his final match. Another simple match Cena could have is with Cody Rhodes. Now unlike Breaker, Rhodes doesn't have much to gain with a match against John Cena. He's very established in the face of the WWE right now. Both men share similarities with each other, being the ambassador of WWE and the leading man. Cody is PR trained just like John Cena and has the very same role as he did a decade ago. It's simply down to putting on a spectacle, and what better way to do that than having John Cena go up against the American Nightmare. Personally, I would rather not see this match as Cena's last, but if it did happen, I'm certain they do well together in a face versus face match. Drew McIntyre is a name that's very out there when it comes to Cena's final match because opposed to the next men, he's never been closely associated with John Cena. He's also the least likely out of all these options. But Drew poses a different situation because he's an actual heel. Only one other man on this list is just that. Him being Cena's final opponent would show how much faith and respect WWE has for him, but I don't see it. Roman Reigns, a decent foe for Cena in his later years, but somebody who I don't consider a strong rival of his. He had a great match at SummerSlam in 2021, and similar to Cody, if it's about putting on a huge match, Roman is a strong bet, but the dynamics are very different now. He's a face, and obviously that is no problem if the match goes down, but just wanted to mention it. We will see something similar to No Mercy 2017 style if it does go down next year, regardless of it being Cena's final match. I don't really have any interest in this match. I added it in here because Roman's a big name and they probably did think about it before because face of the company was John Cena followed by Roman Reigns. Other than that, I can't really try and sell this for being the final match other than Roman being the guy who WWE passed the torch to after Cena became a part-timer. His Shield brother though has a much better history with John Cena in ring. Seth Rollins back in 2014 and 15 was a strong rival of Cena's and pushed him to have much greater matches. Rollins has a certain confidence about him whenever he faced Cena, and it's understandable because he was the #1 guy then, and impressing in a showing with him would go a long way in determining whether or not you're capable of being a main eventer. Rollins passed with flying colors. Honestly, him being the final opponent would feel a bit weird and out there. It's always possible, but with all the other faces on the roster, Rollins is a lesser option. They had some of my favorite matches from that era of WWE, but Rollins' style has changed since his knee injury. He's capable of putting on something great though. Now these three to me are my personal choice when it comes down to Cena's final match, and before I mention them, I want to explain something. I personally want to see familiarity with John Cena's final match. It's best if he's in there with a seasoned rival of many years because these three defined a certain part of his career. Randy Orton, the Apex Predator, was one of the strongest rivals in Cena's career. From the years of 2007 to 2014, Cena and Orton had been closely tied together. Sure, their matches weren't always strong, and of course WWE tried to push it as the rivalry, but at the end of the day, Randy Orton was still one of Cena's biggest rivals, and that is a fact. This one actually has a strong chance of happening. Their last major outing inside Hell in a Cell was a surprisingly good match, and there's going to be some value in turning back the clock one more time for Cena's final match. In addition, Orton's been on one of his best runs in ring, so it would be interesting to see how he fares against John Cena nearly 8 years after their last match. CM Punk came up as a rival of Cena from out of nowhere. They had great chemistry together so early on before Money in the Bank 2011 that WWE would pair them up on TV every once in a while because they could do no wrong. The Second City Saint grew as a major rival of John Cena after posing as an alternative alternative to him. He was not the same man that Cena was trying to represent the company. You know, CM Punk did not really care about representing the WWE. He was just about being himself. This feud was the best in WWE at the time because it was similar to Austin and Rock. The modern rendition worked well with fans, and their matches made sure to match the hype and promise the feud brought. Similar to Randy Orton, CM Punk being the last opponent wouldn't be out of the realm and would actually fit in line because you can't tell the story of John Cena without the voice of the voiceless. He was a great foil and rival to John Cena. Unfortunately, I would have added Edge here, but Adam Copeland is signed to AEW, which means it's unlikely, and I think that's sad because Edge was arguably, and in my personal opinion, the greatest rival of John Cena's. He brought out a lot from him, and in turn, Cena improved tremendously. He came out of that feud with Edge a much better in-ring performer, and he owes a lot to the rated R superstar. Even Cena himself said it countless times in documentaries. He owes Edge a lot of credit, praised him for pushing him to the very limit and helping him get better. John Cena's later years in his WWE career was weird. There was a lot that was strange. However, another great rival came from out of nowhere and pushed him to his highest levels for one last time in his career. When AJ Styles arrived in WWE, he had an unnatural hunger to him and was always prepared to show the company why he was the right man to sign. By the time he got to feud with Cena, his name was destined for the most coveted championship in WWE. To Styles, having classics with Cena was a formality. It was expected, and we can't understate just how good these matches were. From a wrestling standpoint, AJ Styles just might have been the greatest opponent Cena faced. Both men came from two different worlds, but their careers intertwined at the perfect moment. AJ Styles as the final opponent makes sense if you see him as the last great rival Cena faced. It could happen, but we'll see. With that said, out of all of these guys, who do I personally want to see John Cena have his final match against? Some of you guys probably did think this, but I actually want to see Cena's final match be against AJ Styles, personally. AJ Styles defined the later careers of John Cena a lot. I actually think it would make sense to have it be the final match, but I don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I do see a couple of these matches happening. The two matches I see happening as the final match are Braun Breaker and Randy Orton. With those two, they're very different because Orton was a major rival, Breaker's a young guy. So I think it's one or the other it's gonna be. If I had to lean towards someone, I'm gonna go with Randy Orton personally. Heading into this video, I thought it would be Braun Breaker, but I think it's going to be Orton. Now, those are the guys that I thought that were most likely to challenge John Cena in his final match. It does make sense for the most part for all of them. I don't even think there's a single one out there that seems strange. Maybe the Seth Rollins one. There was some other guys like Carmelo Hayes and like Nine, some newer guys, but with Braun Breaker, it feels like he's more of a real deal, someone that's more legit. So that's why I didn't include many of the younger guys here, because they don't really seem like a John Cena final match type. But it's a year out, so only time will tell how things go. What I do think is most likely is one of the established talent, but who knows? We'll see how it goes. Alright guys, who do you think John Cena should face in his final match? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the AA on the like button or perhaps the STF on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.